Du Young sat in his dark observation room aboard the Galactic Council's ship. His eyes were fixed on the large screen in front of him. As senior analyst for the Council, he had watched many space battles before, but this one was different. "How interesting," he said quietly, making notes on his tablet. "They don't use energy weapons at all." The screen showed a battle between two forces. On one side were the sleek, purple ships of the Krax Empire, shooting bright energy beams. On the other side were the gray, blocky ships of the humans, Earth's first space fleet. The Krax Empire had started this war. They thought defeating humans would be easy. After all, humans were new to space travel. They didn't have shields or energy weapons. But the Krax were wrong. Du Young watched as a human ship fired something at a Krax vessel. It wasn't an energy beam. It was just a piece of metal, shot at very high speed. The metal bullet went right through the Krax ship's energy shields. These shields were made to stop energy weapons, not solid objects. "Clever," Du Young said, leaning forward. "Very clever." More human ships appeared from behind a moon. They had been hiding there. The Krax ships didn't see them coming. The humans had learned that Krax sensors looked for energy readings, not metal objects. So the humans had turned off their engines and waited. Now the human ships fired hundreds of metal pieces at the Krax fleet. The Krax shields did nothing to stop them. Du Young watched as 3 Krax ships were destroyed in less than a minute. "Command Center, are you seeing this?" Du Young spoke into his communicator. "The humans are using their mining equipment as weapons. Those are mining drills and rock cutters, modified to shoot metal at high speed." The Krax ships tried to fight back. They followed their usual battle plan: form a line and fire energy weapons. But the human ships didn't stay still. They moved in strange patterns, breaking up the Krax formation. Some human ships even crashed into the Krax vessels on purpose after their crews escaped in pods. Du Young's assistant brought him a drink. "Sir," she said, "shouldn't we help the Krax? They are part of the Galactic Council." "No," Du Young replied. "The Krax broke our laws when they attacked the humans. This is their punishment." He paused, watching another Krax ship explode. "Besides, I think we're learning something very important here." The battle continued for another hour. At the end, the Krax fleet was destroyed. The human ships had losses too, but they had won. They had beaten a stronger enemy by thinking differently. Du Young finished his notes. His hands were shaking a little. In all his years watching space battles, he had never seen anything like this. The humans had taken simple tools and turned them into powerful weapons. They had used clever tricks instead of advanced technology. Most importantly, they had adapted and changed their tactics during the battle. "Send a message to the Council," Du Young told his assistant. "Tell them we need to study the humans very carefully. They are not like other species we have met." As he looked at the battle scene one last time, Du Young thought about what this meant for the galaxy. The Krax Empire had been a problem for many years. They thought they were the strongest warriors in space. Now, a young species had proved them wrong. But Du Young was worried too. If humans could do this with simple mining tools, what would they do with real weapons? What would happen when they learned about more advanced technology? "The galaxy just changed," he said to himself. "I wonder if anyone else realizes it yet." He turned off his screen and stood up. He had a lot of work to do. The Council would want to know everything about these humans. They needed to understand this new species that could turn simple tools into weapons and mining ships into warships. The age of energy weapons and shields was over. The humans had shown everyone a new way to fight, and this was just the beginning. Professor Jaiwan walked into the Great Hall of the Galactic Council. 500 alien leaders sat in tall seats that reached up to the ceiling. They all watched her closely. In her hands, she held a simple tablet containing 20 years of research about humans. "Respected council members," she began, her voice steady and clear. "I am here to explain why humans are different from all other warrior species we have met." The room was silent. After the battle that Du Young had watched, Everyone wanted to know more about humans. Jai-1 touched her tablet, and a large image appeared in the middle of the room. It showed different alien species and their natural weapons. Sharp claws, powerful teeth, thick armor, and strong muscles. Most species evolved one way to fight, she explained. The Cracks have their armor. The Meth have their claws. But humans, she paused and showed a picture of a human. Humans have no natural weapons at all. Whispers filled the room. A council member stood up. Then how are they such good warriors? He asked. Jai-1 smiled. Because instead of evolving to be stronger, humans evolved to be smarter and more adaptable. They can study their enemies and learn new ways to fight. They can use any weapon they find. They can change their tactics when something doesn't work. She showed videos of human history, soldiers fighting with spears, then swords, then guns, then spacecraft. See how they keep changing. Other species stick to one way of fighting. Humans are always trying new things. Another council member spoke up. But they are so small and weak compared to many species. That's their second advantage, Jai-1 replied. She showed a new image of humans running. Humans have incredible endurance. They can keep fighting long after other species get tired. In their history, they often won battles by wearing down stronger enemies. The council members looked worried now. Jai-1 continued, but here's what makes humans truly dangerous. They can work together better than any species we studied. She played a recording of a human military unit training together. Look how they move as one team. They trust each other completely. They can form these bonds with any group, even with aliens they've just met. No other species can do this so well. An old council member raised his hand. Are you saying we should fear them? Jai-1 thought carefully before answering. No, she said, we should respect them. Humans don't want to fight unless they have to. But when they do fight, they are more dangerous than anyone expects. She showed one final image, human children playing with toys. This is why humans are so good at war. From a young age, they practice solving problems. They play games. They try new things. Every human grows up learning to think creatively. The council room was very quiet now. Jai-1 could see they were beginning to understand. The Cracks lost that battle because they thought fighting was about being strong, she explained. Humans know that fighting is about being smart, working together, and never giving up. She turned off her tablet. My recommendation is simple. Make friends with humans. They are excellent enemies, but they are even better allies. They will solve problems we never thought could be solved. They will find new ways to do things we thought impossible. As Jai-1 left the council chamber, she heard the leaders begin to talk among themselves. She knew they would spend many hours discussing what she had told them. They needed to understand that humans weren't just another warrior race. They were something new, a species that could adapt to any challenge and overcome any enemy. The galaxy was changing, and humans were the reason why. Commander Tahoe stood at the window of the space station, looking at the stars. Behind him, 20 alien military leaders waited to hear his story. They wanted to know about the Battle of Proxima Centauri, where his small fleet had defeated a Cracks armada. We knew they were coming, Tahoe began, turning to face the room. We had 3 days to prepare, and only 6 ships against their 30. Everyone thought we would lose. He walked to the center of the room and pressed a button. A map of the Proxima Centauri system appeared in the air. The Cracks expected us to run or fight head-on. That's what most species would do. Tahoe pointed to an asteroid belt in the map. Instead, we did something they didn't expect. We used our mining equipment. The alien leaders looked confused. One of them spoke up. Mining equipment against warships. Tahoe nodded. For 3 days, we broke up asteroids into small pieces. We placed engines from our cargo pods on the biggest rocks. We turned our mining lasers around so they could push things instead of cutting them. He showed them a recording of his fleet at work. Human ships moved among the asteroids, breaking them apart. adding engines, setting up positions. When the cracks arrived, they flew right into our trap. The recording showed the crack ships entering the system in perfect formation. They were so proud of their battle order, their straight lines, their perfect spacing. It made them easy targets. The aliens watched as the human ships started their attack. They didn't fire weapons at first. Instead, they activated the engines they had attached to the asteroids. Huge rocks began to move toward the Cracks fleet. The Cracks had two choices, Tahoe explained. They could keep their formation and try to shoot down the asteroids, or they could break formation to dodge them. Either way, they would lose. The recording showed what happened next. The Cracks ships broke their lines to avoid the asteroids. That's when the human ships attacked, using the chaos and the clouds of rock dust for cover. We had studied how their shields worked, Tahoe continued. They could stop energy weapons, but they couldn't stop small rocks moving at high speed. The asteroid dust scratched their sensors. The bigger rocks damaged their engines. They couldn't see us coming until it was too late. One of the alien leaders stood up, but this was not honorable combat. He protested. You did not face them directly. Tahoe looked at him calmly. In war, the goal is to win while losing as few of your own people as possible. Honor means protecting your crew and completing the mission. We did both. The recording showed the end of the battle. The Cracks ships, blind and damaged, tried to retreat, but they couldn't navigate through the asteroid field they had entered. More rocks hit their ships. The few that escaped were too damaged to fight again. We lost no ships that day, Tahoe said. No human died. We defeated an enemy 3 times our size by using our minds instead of just our weapons. He turned off the recording. The room was silent. This is what makes humans different, he explained. We don't try to be the strongest. We don't want the most powerful weapons. Instead, we look for clever ways to win. We use everything around us. We adapt. We survive. The alien leaders looked at each other. They were beginning to understand why humans were considered so dangerous. Remember this, Tahoe said as he prepared to leave. Humans don't want to fight. But if we must fight, we will use everything we have learned from every battle in our history. And we learn very, very quickly. Chief Engineer Hai Jin walked through the captured Cracks warship, taking notes on her tablet. As the head of the Galactic Council's technology assessment team, she had seen many alien ships before, but what the humans had done to this one was remarkable. The ship's corridors were filled with strange devices. They weren't fancy or pretty, but they worked perfectly. Hai Jin stopped to examine what looked like a cooking pot attached to the wall. This is amazing, she said to her assistant. The humans turned a food processor into a shield generator. They found out that the spinning mechanism could create a magnetic field. Then they made it stronger by adding parts from their entertainment systems. Her assistant looked confused. But why didn't they just use proper shield technology? Because they didn't have it yet, Hai Jin explained. So they made their own version with what they had. Look at this. She pointed to a series of pipes running along the ceiling. These were once part of their water recycling system. Now they use them to cool their weapons. It's not pretty, but it works better than the original Cracks cooling system. As they walked to the engine room, Hai Jin remembered what Professor Jaiwan had said about human adaptability. Now she was seeing it with her own eyes. The engine room was even more surprising. The humans had removed the original Cracks engine and replaced it with something new. It looked like they had combined parts from 10 different machines. They took their mining laser technology and combined it with their old rocket engines, Hai Jin said, examining the strange machine. It shouldn't work, but it does. It's actually more efficient than the original engine. Her assistant checked some readings on a device. But Chief, isn't this dangerous? If humans can turn simple machines into weapons so easily. Hai Jin nodded. That's why the Council sent us here. We need to understand how humans think about technology. She showed her assistant a simple human tool they had found earlier. Look at this hammer. Most species would see it as just a tool for hitting things. But humans see it differently. They see everything it could become. Moving to the ship's bridge, HFY found more examples of human creativity. They had taken apart the Crack's control systems and rebuilt them in a new way. Simple Earth computers now controlled the entire ship. The Cracks thought humans were primitive because they didn't have advanced technology. HFY said, but that's what makes humans dangerous. They don't need advanced technology. They can take simple things and make them work in new ways. She stopped at the captain's chair and sat down. From here, she could see all the changes the humans had made. None of their solutions were elegant, but they were all clever. Most species wait until they have the right tool for the job, she told her assistant. Humans don't wait. They take whatever tools they have and make them work. They aren't afraid to try new things or make mistakes. As they finished their inspection, HFY made her final notes. She would tell the council that trying to keep advanced technology away from humans was pointless. They would just make their own versions. The humans have taught us something important, she said as they left the ship. It's not the technology that matters. It's how you use it. And humans can use anything. Dr. Sunwoo sat in his quiet office, reviewing video recordings of human soldiers in battle. As the Galactic Council's lead military psychologist, he had spent years studying how different species fought. Humans were unlike anything he had seen before. On his main screen, he watched a group of human soldiers rescue wounded aliens from a crashed ship. The humans risked their own lives to save species they had never met before. On another screen, these same soldiers fought with incredible fierceness to protect their rescued allies. Most species can only do one or the other, Sunwoo said into his recorder. They are either always aggressive or always peaceful, but humans can be both gentle and fierce. They can switch between these modes instantly. He pulled up another recording. This one showed human soldiers sharing food with their alien teammates. They were laughing and telling stories together. Humans form strong bonds very quickly, he continued his notes. They treat their allies like family, even if they look completely different. This makes their fighting units extremely effective. Each soldier fights not just for themselves, but for their whole team. His assistant brought in a new report. It showed brain scans of human soldiers during battle. Sunwoo studied them carefully. Amazing, he said. When humans fight, they can shut off their fear, but they don't lose their ability to think clearly. Most species become less intelligent when they get angry or scared. Humans can stay calm and clever even in terrible situations. He turned to a different set of data. This showed how humans behaved after losing a battle. Most species get discouraged when they lose, he explained to his assistant. They either give up or keep making the same mistakes. But humans learn from every defeat. They come back stronger, with new tactics and better plans. Sunwoo walked to his window and looked out at the stars. He remembered what Professor Jai-1 had said about human adaptability, and what Commander Taho had said about their creativity. Now I understand why humans are so dangerous, he said. It's not just their bodies or their weapons, it's their minds. They can be kind or cruel, peaceful or violent, careful or aggressive. They choose their response based on what works best. He returned to his desk and wrote his final conclusions for the council. Humans have 3 psychological advantages that make them excellent warriors, he wrote. First, they can form strong teams with anyone who treats them with respect. Second, they can be both merciful and fierce, choosing the right response for each situation. Third, they learn and improve from every experience, even failure. As Sunwoo finished his report, he added one last note. But most importantly, humans understand something that many species don't. They know that being strong isn't enough to win a war. You also need to be smart, adaptable, and able to work well with others. He sent his report to the council with a clear recommendation. Do not underestimate humans based on their peaceful behavior. They are not weak. They simply choose when to fight and when to make friends. And when they do fight, they use every tool they have, including their emotions. Sun Wu looked one last time at the videos of human soldiers. They were so different from the warlike cracks or the peaceful meth. Humans could be either or both, depending on what was needed. That, he said quietly, is what makes them the deadliest warriors in the galaxy. The Crack's Emperor stood on his command ship, looking at the blue planet called Earth on his view screen. Behind him, his largest fleet ever assembled waited for his orders. 1,000 warships, each carrying enough weapons to destroy a city. The humans have humiliated us for too long, he told his commanders. Today we will show them what real power looks like. They cannot stop all of us. On Earth, the warning systems detected the Crack's fleet's approach. In every country, emergency alarms sounded. The humans had known this day might come, but they had hoped to avoid it. World leaders gathered in an emergency meeting. They had only hours to prepare. In the past, Earth's nations had often fought each other. But now, facing a threat to all humanity, something remarkable happened. Every weapon we have, every ship, every soldier, all of it must work together, said the European leader. The others quickly agreed. Old enemies became allies. Countries that had never trusted each other now shared their military secrets. The Crack's Emperor watched Earth's responses on his screens. He saw the small human fleet gathering to face his massive armada. He laughed. They think they can defeat us with so few ships, he asked his commanders. Even their clever tricks cannot save them from such overwhelming force. But he didn't understand what was happening on Earth. In laboratories and factories, humans were working together in ways they never had before. Scientists from different countries combined their ideas. Engineers shared their secrets. Military leaders planned together. 1 hour before the Crack's attack, Earth was ready. But not in the way the Cracks expected. When the Crack's fleet advanced, they found no human ships waiting to fight them. Instead, Earth's atmosphere filled with millions of tiny satellites. Each one was made from mobile phones, car parts, and other everyday items that humans had quickly turned into weapons. What are they doing? The Crack's Emperor demanded. Then his ships began to lose power. The satellites were broadcasting signals that confused their computers. Other satellites released clouds of metal dust that got into their engines. But this was just the first part of Earth's defense. From the surface, thousands of modified weather satellites fired pulses that disrupted the Crack shields. Factory lasers, meant for cutting metal, now cut through Crack ship hulls. The Emperor watched in horror as his mighty fleet began to fall apart. "Impossible," he shouted. "They are just primitives." Then the human ships appeared, rising from their hiding places on Earth's moon. They didn't attack alone. Each human ship led a group of converted cargo vessels, mining ships, and even space tourist boats. Every spacecraft humans had was now part of their defense force. "We offered you peace," came the message from Earth's United Command. "You chose war instead. Remember this day. Remember what happens when humanity stands together." The battle lasted less than 3 hours. The Crack's fleet, mighty but inflexible, couldn't adapt to Earth's combined defense. Their careful battle plans fell apart against humans fighting together in ways they had never tried before. As his command ship retreated, the Crack's Emperor finally understood. He had not just attacked human soldiers or ships. He had attacked their whole civilization. And when threatened, humans could turn everything they had into a weapon, and everyone they knew into an ally. The galaxy would never be the same after that day. Not because of the weapons humans used, but because everyone saw what happened when humans truly united. They were no longer just the deadliest warriors. They had become something even more powerful. A species that could overcome any challenge when they worked together. Ambassador Minho stood in the center of the Galactic Council chamber. The defeat of the Crack's fleet had caused great concern among the galaxy's leaders. Now they had to decide what to do about the humans. "We have heard from many experts," Minho began. "They all agree that humans are different from any species we have encountered before. The question is, are they too dangerous to join our galactic community?" The chamber was filled with representatives from 1,000 worlds. Many of them were afraid after seeing what humans could do. Others were impressed by human creativity and strength. The Krax Empire has asked us to declare humans a dangerous species, Minho continued. They want us to restrict human expansion and technology. We must vote on this today. A leader from the peaceful meth species stood up. The humans defeated the largest fleet ever assembled, she said. They turned simple tools into powerful weapons. How can we trust them? Minho nodded. He had expected this question. He pressed a button, and a new image appeared in the chamber. It showed human doctors treating wounded Krax soldiers after the battle. Yes, humans are powerful warriors, Minho said. But look at what they do after they win. They help their defeated enemies. They try to make peace. The Krax attacked their home, yet humans showed mercy. Another council member spoke up. But what if they decide to conquer the galaxy? Who could stop them? Minho changed the image. Now it showed human ships helping to rebuild damaged Krax colonies. Humans don't want to rule others, he explained. They want to trade, to learn, to explore. They'd fight only when attacked. The debate continued for hours. Minho showed more evidence of human behavior. He reminded the council of Professor Ji-Won's research, Commander Taho's tactical wisdom, and Dr. Sunwoo's psychological insights. Look at what we have learned, Minho said. Humans can be fierce warriors, but they choose peace when possible. They can make terrible weapons, but they prefer to build useful tools. They can defeat any enemy, but they would rather make friends. A very old council member slowly stood up, but they united their whole world to defeat the Krax, he said. No species has ever done that before. It makes them too powerful. Minho smiled. That is exactly why we should welcome them, he replied. Think about what humans could do if they united to solve other problems. They could help us cure diseases, explore new worlds, and solve ancient challenges. The council chamber grew quiet as everyone considered this idea. They had been focusing on human strength in war. But what about human strength in peace? Finally, it was time to vote. The council had 3 choices: declare humans dangerous and restrict them, leave them alone, or invite them to join the galactic community as full members. The votes were cast. The result surprised many people. By a large majority, the council voted to welcome humans as equals. We have made a wise choice, Minho said after the vote. Yes, humans are the deadliest warriors in the galaxy, but that is not what makes them special. What makes them special is their ability to choose when not to fight, their desire to help others, and their endless creativity in solving problems. The Council's decision would change the galaxy forever, but not in the way many had feared. Instead of bringing war, humans would bring new ideas, new solutions, and new hope to all species. Fleet Admiral Haendul stood on the observation deck of the new Galactic Defense Force headquarters. 5 years had passed since the Council welcomed humans into the galactic community. The view before him showed how much things had changed. Ships from 100 different species flew in formation, practicing new battle tactics that humans had developed. But these weren't warships. They were part of the galaxy's first joint peacekeeping force. Admiral, the new training group has arrived, his assistant said. Haendul turned to see 30 young officers from different species entering the room. They were the latest class to learn human military doctrine. Welcome to Earth, Haendul said to the group. You are here because your worlds want to learn how humans think about defense and security. But first, I want to show you something important. He led them to a large window overlooking Earth. The planet below was busy with activity. Ships from across the galaxy came to trade, learn, and work together with humans. Many species thought we would use our strength to conquer, Haendul explained. Instead, we chose to protect and build. Look there. He pointed to a nearby space station where human engineers worked with alien scientists. In 5 years, we have helped develop better shields, faster ships, and stronger buildings, he continued. But our greatest gift to the galaxy wasn't technology. It was a new way of thinking. The young officers watched as Haynewell brought up displays showing joint human-alien projects. There were teams exploring dangerous planets, groups responding to natural disasters, and crews protecting trade routes from pirates. Humans taught the galaxy that being strong doesn't mean you have to fight. Haynewell said, "We showed that the best warriors are those who know when not to use their weapons." One of the alien officers raised a hand. "But Admiral, we heard that humans turned simple tools into powerful weapons. Aren't you dangerous?" Haynewell smiled. "Yes, we can be dangerous, but we choose to use our creativity to help others. We turned mining tools into rescue equipment. We use our battle tactics to catch criminals. We teach others how to defend themselves without starting wars." He showed them the latest project, a massive shield network that protected peaceful worlds from natural disasters. It used the same technology that humans had once used to defeat the Krax fleet. "This is why the Council accepted us," Haynewell explained. "Not because we were strong, but because we showed wisdom in how we used our strength." The training group moved to the Academy building. Inside, experienced human officers taught alien students about human military thinking. But they weren't learning about war. They were learning about protection, rescue, and peacekeeping. "Remember," Haynewell told them, "humans became the deadliest warriors in the galaxy because we learned to adapt, to think creatively, and to work together. Now we teach others to do the same, not to fight wars, but to prevent them." As he watched the young officers begin their training, Haynewell thought about how far the galaxy had come. The Krax Empire had joined the peacekeeping force. Former enemies now worked together. Problems that had seemed impossible were being solved by combined teams using human creativity and alien technology. "Yes," he said quietly, "we are the deadliest warriors. But our greatest victory wasn't winning a war. It was showing the galaxy a better way to keep the peace."